Okay, Darren. Let's do that. Let's do that thing that we just did.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, 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 boom. Hey, everybody. Vic here with Success Mastermind Hangout. I'm kind of in chill space. Here I got my books, got my computer, got Darren, and got you out there. What we're going to be talking about today is this book right here, Think and Grow Rich, Chapter 6. If you did your homework, you will have read Chapter 6. I'm going to read a little excerpt here in a moment. But Darren, what do you think about what we just been chatting here, having a great old time for the last half hour? What do you think? You taught me something that I want to share with the group here. Whenever you're teaching people something, you want to say, "Here's what I'm going to be teaching you." Then you teach them that, and then you tell them what you just taught. So talk about that for a little bit while I unmute something that's going on in my headset.
Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot for having me on this exclusive and private VIP call that you've put together, Victor. Really appreciate you, guys. Here's the really interesting thing about leadership in general. A lot of people get into any type of a business and they're sort of lost a little bit. They don't really know what to do. So what I always tell people is that you have to show up as a teacher versus a student. Right? Now, what does that mean? That means that when you're taking notes, people typically will take notes as a student. You need to be thinking in your mind that you're going to be teaching this stuff, so you need to come at it from a different perspective. Now, with this particular strategy that I was talking to Victor about, is that when you first of all tell somebody what they're going to learn, it almost like opens up files into their subconscious mind for that information now to get deposited into. So you tell them what you're going to teach them, then you teach them, and then you tell them what you just taught them. And what happens is the files get opened up, the information gets deposited, and then it gets confirmed. It's like, do you want to save that file? Yes, save that file, right? And that's really how you can most effectively teach anything. It doesn't matter what it is. So if you have a group of people and you want them to learn something, if you use that format, especially if you're talking about something technical, right, that formula will get the most amount of retention for that information.
I think that's a brilliant insight, Darren. I think a lot of people out there are not quite clear on what it takes to make money online. I was just in a hangout with my mentor, Alex Mendosian, right before we got on this hangout, and there was a guest from TED Talks that was talking, and I asked him the question, how do people get started in making money online? Because that's the question I get asked all the time. And then he answered it. He said, you know what? He met someone who spent $80,000 on their education and they made $200 online. It's a very, very competitive business. And Napoleon Hill said it really well. This is from the Imagination chapter 6, How to Transmute Ideas into Cash. If you are one of those people who believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish that thought. It is not true. Riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work alone. Riches come, if they come at all, in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles and not by chance or luck. That's what we're going to be talking about today, folks. We're going to be talking about the quantum mechanics that you've been using to become a self-made millionaire and to actually generate students that are now taking your mindset and your results and duplicating that in their business. And they make more than $200. I mean, that's not a really good ROI. Spend 80 grand on education, make $200. That's worse than college. But back to you, Darren. What we're going to be talking about the unstoppable vision in a moment, but just because I think that's one of your best videos, but it was in 2013. This is going to be Unstoppable Vision in 2015, but we still got some, if you watch the timer on the right, you're actually sort of like, this is like a live taping of a show. If you're here live, that's great, but chances are you're going to be probably watching us as a replay. And this show is going to have 4 distinct elements. We're going to cover 4 different sections. Why? Because we've observed that videos that are around 15 minutes tend to work the best for a number of reasons. I'm going to get to those reasons a little bit later. There's some SEO tactics, there's some ninja tactics, there's some Google tactics that I'll be sharing with you. You want to stay to the end of this webcast for those tactics. But right now, I want to open up with Darren talking about what I just read with Napoleon Hill. What do you think about that? That riches do not come from hard work and honesty. They come from imagination.
Here's what I'm going to tell you guys about, creating what it is that you want, okay? Because where I came from the world of venture capital and being able to come up with a concept or an idea, brand it, package it, and then attract the right people that were going to be able to make that deal work, right? That was the first phase, is to bring in the proper management team, the proper board of directors, the proper advisory board, and then from that, we would go raise the capital. But in order to even bring in the people, you have to be tapped into your vision, okay? And it's more than just a picture, okay? It's a feeling, okay? So you have to be able to literally like lasso, like a cowboy. You've got to lasso the future reality and right into your being and walk around in that future reality right now. That's really the key behind this. So in order to be able to create something, a visionary sees what cannot yet be seen, right? Walt Disney is a great example of that, because the Disneyland was actually built after the fact that he was already dead. And somebody said to his brother, it's too bad that that Walt isn't here to see this. He says, it's here because Walt already saw it. That's why it's here, right? And that's really the power of being a visionary and being able to step into your vision, right? Once you learn how to do that, and once you learn the quantum physics behind it, you can literally create something from nothing, okay? And it doesn't matter what your concept, what your idea is. If you do not believe it to be true, it will never happen for you, okay? So that's the biggest blocker that people have. Even as I was listening to your statement, Vic, earlier, the guy spent $80,000, he made 200. But if you watch the replay, your words that you said, that you're speaking into the reality are, well, guys, it's really competitive out there, right? I believe it's not. I believe I don't have any competition. I believe there's only one me, right? So there's no other product to be me. So I don't have any competitors, right? It's just me against the mirror. There's my competition. So if you believe this to be true, that's when you become the attractor factor. So what I would put out to you here is that if you do not believe that you have value, if you do not believe that you're a leader, if you do not believe that this is easy, it's not going to be easy. If you believe that there's massive competition, if you believe it's going to be hard to get sales, it's going to be hard to get sales. That's how it works. So there's two worlds that exist simultaneously in parallel realities, okay? Over here, you've got everything that you want. Over here, you've got everything that you don't want. And whatever one is that you're focusing on is the reality that you're going to actually create for yourself. So it all starts with your belief. That's really the key. But what do you believe? And what's your actual vision, right? So back over to you, Vic.
I think that's a good insight, because you're right. I actually do believe this is a competitive industry, and so then I experience the world of competition. I'm always looking at competitive analysis. I'm looking at what our competitors are doing. Maybe the right mindset is to understand our individual uniqueness and find a niche audience that we can relate to. Like in the homework assignment you gave in our elite black card, iPass elite black card group, our private mastermind, you talked about talking about your ideal business partner and the qualities of the type of people you want to attract. And I think that that's different for every single one of us. We all have a different mindset around that. I think belief is interesting because there's two concepts that I want to share. There's a thing called a belief, there's a thing called a value, and then there's a thing called an identity. They're three different things. One of my teachers, spiritual teachers in personal leadership development, was Harry Palmer. He's still alive, I believe. And he said this. He said, you experience what you believe unless you believe you don't. In which case you won't, which means you did. So it's kind of a koan. So in other words, belief, most people think that belief follows experience. I believe that, I experienced this, therefore I should believe that. So-and-so didn't make money with this, therefore I won't either. These are negative beliefs. What he's suggesting we do is we engineer a belief and then live into that belief. And I think there's another thing, another word I want to define called culture. Culture is a group of people that all have a shared belief, a shared, and or even a shared value. Value is different. Like a good exercise I learned from Dr. John DeMartini when I was with him in Hawaii was about identifying your hierarchy of values. Where do you put money, freedom, family, career? There's like about 12 different primary values that are the primary drivers. And when two people meet each other, they tend to communicate and exchange in terms of their values. One person may have money higher on their list of values. Another person might have family higher list on their values. Like David Wood, a mutual friend of ours, he has family at the top of his value list. So what that does is it rearranges his priorities in accordance. Someone else who's just maybe starting out and they really need to make money, they'll put money really high on their list of values. So those are values. There's another thing that I learned about called domains. And a domain, a good friend of mine, I'll tell you a story in the last 3 seconds we have of this section. Actually, why don't I hold that story? Let me tell you about my friend who built a house, and then he took a statue and he put it somewhere where it shouldn't be. So stay tuned to our next episode. That's a wrap. Okay, so we're going to take like a minute of pause here in between.
So we're not recording right now?
Oh, yeah, we are recording. But we're going to slice this up into little pieces. And those of you who are watching us live, you get to actually kind of hang out with us in this live studio recording. We're going to slice it up into 15-minute chunks. And what I want to do is we're going to begin the next chunk by summarizing what we just covered in the previous chunk.
Okay. I'll follow your lead.
Okay. I learned this from Alex. I think it's a really cool way of doing these things because it kind of lightens it up a little bit and people feel like they're part of something because they really are. You're actually part of the witness of a birth of creation here. Okay, so here we go. Let's all take a deep breath. Those out in the audience, just go ahead and let's breathe in and exhale and go, ah. Okay. And look right at the camera. 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone. I'm Vic Grant here with the Success Mastermind Hangout. My guest, Darren Little, a self-made millionaire, is going to be talking with you about beliefs, values, and strategies and how you can apply these to your life and your business. This is section number 2. And what we talked about last time was the importance of beliefs on your business. Because if you have a negative belief, like competition is a big belief, a lot of business owners believe in competition, venture capitalists as well, then that's what you will experience in your world. But if you change your belief as Darren did, he's unique. He has no competition. He is a being in his, he has found his niche and he's finding people there. So, Darren, I talked about a couple of definitions. What is your definition of a belief? What is your definition of a value? What is your definition of a culture? And then I'm going to get back to you, tell you the story of domains that I talked about in the previous video.
Sure.
Darren, on to you.
For me, Vic, is a belief is something that is the truth for you. It's your core truth, right? And it creates an opening in the matrix. It creates an opening to allow that to come into your reality. Okay, so that's so as an example, if I don't believe something, then that opening, right, or that gateway in the vortex goes, it just shuts now. It's not possible, right? So it's going to be open if I believe, it's going to be closed and shut if I don't believe, right? As far as the value, it's the rank of importance that something has on your scale of importance of things that are most important to your core, right? So if you take a person and they have the core of who they are, their values will rank on that list of what's most important to them, right? As far as a culture goes, a culture is a bunch of things, but it really stems, quite honestly, from a feeling. It's a feeling in your physiology, in your body, when things are all lining up properly. It's like the stars are all aligned, and your beliefs and your values of the group are in alignment, and it starts to create a culture, right, of what those people, the type of people that it attracts into that core group, right? And in a way, I mean, if you look at culture, what's part of the word cult, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody is in a cult, they have certain beliefs, and they talk a certain way, they act a certain way. Things are within okay zone or not okay zone. That's the opening or the closing. Things that they will accept or they won't accept in their reality. And what I find is that the more that you put a collective group together that has positive beliefs, that believes that anything is possible, that there's no income ceiling, that our only income ceiling is right here. It's between here and here, right? It's how big can we stretch? Like for instance, when I'm talking to my own students, and I'm talking about having $3,000 days, right? All I've got to do is look at their facial expressions and their physiology to know who believes it and who doesn't believe it, right? And a lot of that it's directly linked to the human condition, deservability, worthiness, self-love, and boundaries of whether or not they have that opening to allow that to come in, right? And a lot of them are, they'll be like this in the beginning until they start to do some of the personal development work and clean up their timeline. Anyway, back over to you.
Well, thank you, Darren. I think that sort of pinpoints exactly what the challenges are that most people are experiencing. Is that they hear something like $3,000 day and they think, oh my gosh, that's what I make in a month. And there's a reason for that. It is there's a term called homeostasis. Homeostasis. It's like a thermostat. Okay, we all have this mental thermostat on how much money or how much goodness we're willing to receive, based on our early childhood upbringing. If our parents made a certain cap of money, then we think, wow, we aspire to make that cap of money. And then when someone comes along and says, wow, you had a $3,000 day, well, how many days you work a month? Well, okay, if I do that every single day, you'd be making 30,000 a month, right? Yeah, but a lot of people don't. Here's the distinction. This is business income. This is not personal income. When you're running a business, I actually learned this from Chris Record, is your target, your initial target is around 30,000 a month in your business. Because what's your business? Well, your business is going to be investing in advertising. It's going to be investing in training. It's going to be investing in travel. Once you're in business, when you actually treat your business like a business, what starts to happen is you notice that you have almost everything you do is for lack of a better word, a write-off, because you're actually using it for your business. Travel. Uh, I'm not a tax expert, but I do know this, that anything 24 hours before a business meeting and anything 24 hours after a business meeting is a tax write-off, including going to those meetings. Well, why is that so? The reason that's so is because the business is about to generate a lot of money that brings in jobs for people. It creates, see, a business or an entrepreneur is someone who creates, I don't like to use that word job because it stands for just over broke. Let's call it specialist tasks. Like I was on with my friend Scott today. We were interviewing people on Fiverr to run a page, to design a page for us, a sales page for one of the products we're working on. And I mean, it's just like someone in the other side of the world that's going to do this for our business for $5. Now I know we're probably going to pay more than $5. That's just the opening offer. But still, the point is that we're creating specialist tasks for other people to go create something for us. And then that's the model of entrepreneurship. You know, you said you were in the venture capital community. I hung out a lot in that community when I was living in Palo Alto. And get this, my partner at the time is Daniel Kotke. Shout out to you. I don't know if you saw the Steve Jobs movie. We were pitching a deal called Fast Movie, which was to generate a business that would be able to stream high definition video on the internet. And I kid you not, one of the venture capitalists said, Vic, we don't think there's a market for high definition video streaming on the internet. And they looked at us, they said, okay, so let me see if you got this right. We have the third founder of Apple Computer, someone like me who's been in the industry for 21 years, two other industry veterans, and we're coming to you with a deal, and you don't think that there's a market for high definition video on the internet? Truth be told, the venture firm thought we were too old. It's bottom line. I know that now. We were too senior and we were not gullible enough to go into that community. So I made a decision at that time. I'm going to build it. Everything I do, I'm going to build myself. I'm going to reinvest all of our profits into development, into advertising, into strategy, live a very humble, meager life, and just keep building and building and building and building and building something without seeking outside investors. But that's just my story. I don't know what your story is, but I want you to, the takeaway is you want to start thinking of your business as a business. And I told you yesterday, Darren, in Facebook, I was sitting here on my phone writing about my ideal business partner. And I said, someone, who's been around the block, has made, like that guy that spent $80,000 on his training. He's looking for that next team that's going to help him cross the edge in the ability to bring his business to the next level. When I do consulting with clients, I tell them, it's like you have, before I can double your traffic, you have to have some traffic. If you have zero and I double it, it's still zero. So I think a lot of people who are coming into this industry have stars in their eyes. And it's not so much about that. It's about how Napoleon said. He says, riches come in response to definite demands. In other words, a very, very specific vision, an unstoppable vision, if you will, of like what you talk about, and their commitment to do whatever it takes to achieve that vision in the face of obstacles. So they go, oh my God, my internet is down. Well, you know what? I've done this sometimes. I get in the car and I drive over to Starbucks. I don't let that stop me. There's nothing that is going to stop the vision from moving forward. I think that's the mindset you need to have. Back to you, Darren.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you guys, okay? And this is quantum physics, okay? Your body, your physiology in your body is your compass, okay? So the way that you create whatever it is that you want is the secret, right? The secret to manifestation is thought, directed emotion that generates feeling, right? So when you are tapped into an unstoppable vision where you're lassoing that future reality into your body, that's what's going to make you unstoppable. It's the feeling, all right? This is why I talk so much in my training with my students about some of the things I'm going to be talking about in Unstoppable Vision, a three-dimensional vision board, and proclamations and speaking the reality into existence. Because once you do this, guys, once you really tap into this, here's what happens. As I'm talking about this, my hair starts to stand up on my arm. I get goosebumps because my body is so tapped into these concepts that all I have to do is start talking about it, start talking about unstoppable vision, start talking about the feeling in my body, and it just goes instant. Here it is. Here's another wave. You can see it coming on my arms, right? So when you really get this and you practice this daily, and it becomes part of your daily routine, it doesn't matter what happens in your reality. It doesn't matter, right? Because you can get back to this, right? So what I tell my students multiple times per day is to say, how do I feel? How do I feel? Because you can backtrack your concentrated focused thought. What were you just thinking about? Because concentrated focused thought is what generates the feeling in the body, which sends out the broadcast out to the electrons, right? And I talk about that in my Academy of Quantum Physics Mind Mastery. We go into that in great detail to teach you how to become a master at manifestation.
Yeah, thank you, Darren. It's so funny you mentioned that because Napoleon Hill's next sentence says exactly what you said. He says, generally speaking, an idea is an impulse of thought that impels action by an appeal to the imagination. All master salesmen know that ideas can be sold where merchandise cannot. Ordinary salesmen do not know this. That is why they are ordinary. Isn't that exactly just
and
cut right through it?
Well, here's the interesting thing on that particular topic, because what you're talking about there as well, right, is the world on one side, which I can tell you is very painful when people get into a online situation. They think it's about features and benefits. Okay, MLM, network marketing, direct sales, affiliate marketing. That's what the world that they come from, like the used car guy. Well, it's got power steering and power brakes and 400 horsepower, and right. That's not this model. Okay, so that model, I can tell you, is very painful. Okay, over here, your product is really you, right? Over here, it's all about what's your vision, right? What's the ultimate goal, right? What's your preferred state? What's your perfect day? Once you get all of that worked out, then all the rest of the stuff starts to line up, right? Now, as long as your vision is big enough to hold everybody else's vision, you will always be able to attract high-level people. But if your vision is this little tiny vision, right? People that have a bigger vision won't be able to fit into your reality, right? So it's important to understand that about vision. That's why I tell people, take the focus off of just you, take the focus off of your family. It has to be something that's global. It has to be bigger than you. Okay, you got to have some global purpose that you're behind, like a movement, right? Of moving people into your vision to make that a reality.
And so what would people learn from understanding the unstoppable vision training? Like, I understand you have some PowerPoint slides for us that we're going to be seeing a little bit later, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. We're going to get to those in a moment. And before we do, I'd like to have you look below this video. There's a box where you can say, ask a question. So put your name, email address, and what's your question. That will cue that up into the question, and I'll ask it to Darren during our next round. And the other thing, you'll also see there's a bar, and there's tactics and mindset. Something I came up with together with Mars Burden, who invented the system. Thank you, Mars, for such a fantastic piece of software. How this works is, if you want to hear us speak more about tactics, then what you do is you click tactics. Is here's what we do that's working for us specifically. Here's the type of calls to action that we use. Here's the type of landing pages that we use. This is the type of strategies, like email marketing strategies. Then that would be tactics, and you click the little plus sign, it'll increase the tactics. If you want to hear more about mindset, then you just click the little plus on the mindset. You can also do the opposite. You can click minus on the tactics and minus on the mindset. And then the whole population who's watching this video can be able to interact with us, and we'll have a little bit of feedback from you on where that is. So that's kind of an interesting thing, allowing us to engage with ever-increasing sizes of audiences. So if you have a question, please ask it below. And also thanks to Livefire for providing us with a evergreen way of sharing content throughout the mastermind, and it sort of allows each mastermind group to build on the previous. So please feel and write your comments about what your takeaways, what are your personal breakthroughs that you're having from these Hangouts, and what you would like to see in future Hangouts. And let me read another line here. Just going to read the last line. Ideas are intangible forces. This is from Think and Grow Rich, hardcover edition, Napoleon Hill. Did you know 100 million copies of this book have been sold? 100 million copies, okay? That's a lot of books. So if we just focus, Darren, and like we all talk about target marketing, okay? What if we just target enthusiasts of Napoleon Hill worldwide? That's 100 million people. 100 million people that need our help in bringing their vision into reality. Okay, ideas are intangible are intangible forces. Let me start that over here. Ideas are intangible forces, but they have more power than the physical brains that give birth to them. They have the power to live on after the brain that creates them has returned to dust. And that, my friends, is quantum physics. When someone passes into the other side, doesn't matter what you believe in, there is evidence that their thoughts, their feelings, and their deeds will somehow magically show up in the mind of someone else, even if they had no physical connection to them, even if they were on a different island, if you will. So ponder that for a moment. And any last words before we conclude this second installment of this Unstoppable Vision introductory video series? Back to you, Darren.
I'm good. I'm ready to rock. Let's do it.
All right, let's do that thing again. Ready?
Okay. Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom. I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, so now you might be wondering, why do I clap? And if those of you who are making videos in internet marketing or other fields like that, when you clap, I learned this from Vince Beaton. He's my cameraman and dear friend. He recorded me for 2 days. I created a legacy series, 2 days of video telling my story. That's a long, long time. We did professional. He did Mythbusters. He recorded the Mythbusters television series. Thank you, Vince. You're awesome. We're going to be rolling out those videos to you. Just check your email, and you'll be made aware of them as soon as we have them for release. But the point of that is that when you clap, what it does is you can look on the timeline and you can see a little spike. And what that allows you to do is very quickly slice up the video into sections without having to go watch the whole thing. And that way, if there's like a pause with a clap, you see the spike, and then you can do that. It's a great tip for those of you who are making videos. In a 1 hour period of time, you can make 4 videos of about 15 minutes each. Now, I remember I told you I was going to give you a little secret. Okay, this is from SEO, and some of you guys might think this is a little advanced, but contrary to what all the other leaders are telling you, 10-minute videos are the sweet spot. Actually, longer than that. If you can cause someone on YouTube to go more than 5 minutes in length, Google will, as of last couple of months, they will actually allow your videos to show up in natural Google search results. In 2013, it was all about Google Plus. They had too many lawsuits. I have friends in that whole world that basically Google Plus has some relevance in natural SEO, but not as much as it used to. My friends, YouTube is king right now. If you want your YouTube videos to show up higher than your competitors' web pages, make longer than 5-minute videos, make sure people watch them for more than 5 minutes, and make sure you have a growing audience that's engaged with you, and build that up. So all of you marketers out there that have 3-minute videos, you got to go recut them to 5 to 10 minutes. Google knows this, and they won't have the shorter videos show up in natural search results. My friends, that's one of the secrets of getting your videos just going gangbusters. And then if you use our software search triggers, as my friend Scott, who's going to be coming on here a little bit later possibly, he has been getting, I kid you not, 3, 4, 5,000 views on his videos in a narrow niche just by changing a few words here or there. And if Scott's not able to join us today, I'm going to send him a little Skype, see if he can join us. He could share with you his screen how he's producing these massive results. Darren, he had a $9,000 day in sales using our software. $9,000 in sales. Now, this was not an info product. This was not an MLM. This was not a business opportunity. This was a drone. It was a physical thing that you ship. But that's gross sales, not net profit. I don't know what his profit is. But in one day, using a video that he used our software with, he was able to generate $9,000 sales days. And what we're working on is teaching people how to do that. So without any further ado, I want to make sure that you guys get involved get back to the person that sent you to this video. There's probably a button to the right or to the left with whatever opportunity they're presenting you with that. Make sure you get involved with that. Let me plus that with one thing. I was in a hangout today. Actually, was with Scott, and someone asked the question, well, gosh, I don't know how to make money online. I don't know how to make money. I mean, you know, you're teaching me all this great stuff with search triggers and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, wow, how do I turn this traffic into cash? Well, guys, that is an entire massive and very rewarding educational process, of which Darren is a master. I mean, master of.
Vic, can I just share this really quickly? Because
yeah,
I think this is really a great, just sort of a little bit of a metaphor. Okay, what I believe. Okay, this gets back to beliefs. What I believe in every single cell of my body, that if you open up your heart and you give to the world unconditionally with your best value that you have, that you literally give it away, okay? That not only will that content start, but as we're sitting here, I just had a $3,000 day. It just came in right now, right? And that's really a great message that you're seeing happen live, right? Because Vic and I don't get paid for this, guys, just so you know. Nobody pays me to put together this content. Nobody says, Darren, hey, can you come and do a webinar? You know, we're going to pay you $5,000 for that. That's not what happens, guys. You have to be prepared to surrender, to relinquish, and to give your best value away for free, right here from your heart, right? Give it away for free. And know that what you're doing is you're making universal deposits, okay? You're making universal deposits out there. And the way that it works is it's the law of reciprocity. That means that if I continue to give, right, as a humble servant leader, that I will get rewarded like an avalanche of prosperity, right? That's like a universal rule. So, I mean, it's kind of ironic if you really think about it, because here we are right now, we're on a live broadcast. And if you're watching this later, you know, you can see, you know, these are time stamped, guys. This is time stamped. I mean, I can't, it's not like I can, you know, fudge this stuff. I can't fake it. This is going on live right now. And boom, there it is. So you give from your heart to the world, right? A value. Okay, so somebody says, well, Darren, well, I don't have any value, right? That's called victimhood, guys. That's called victimhood. Don't be that person. So instead of saying, oh, I don't have any value, right? What you've got to say is, what would I need to do so that I can have value? Why not learn something? So if you don't think you have value, you learn something and now you have value. You implement it, you collect some data or results, and now you're sharing your results with the world, right? That's the strategy. If you started today, your very first day, right? By day 4 or day 5, if you implement the formula, you will already have a following of people, right? You learn something, you implement it, collect some data, and now you share your results, right? Now, the people that didn't know what you just learned are already looking up to you as a leader, right? That's how it works. Anyway, back to you. I thought it was kind of ironic how this just happened.
So you're saying that, like, let me see if I got this right. As we were having this hangout, you're giving value to an unknown audience. The universe rewards you with a $3,000 commission. Boom, like
That is
that.
correct.
Okay, it just
Absolutely.
came in. You just got a text message.
Yep.
Okay, so if you're watching this at home and you'd like to join our team with me and Darren coaching you, as we are, and we could bring maybe some teammates in later on. What I'll do is I'll give the private link to you, Darren, and you could just Skype this or Facebook it, wherever you want. Let's bring some other people in here. Tell us a little bit about the VIP Black Card. I'm going to go ahead and put this on air. So I'm just going to say it like it is. Click the button and get started with this. So on to you right now. I'm putting the Black Card on air. Tell us a little bit about this. This is the membership club that we both belong to.
Absolutely. You know, I think that the biggest challenge that most people have in getting started in a business is that there's so many potential rabbit holes that they can go down, right? And if you literally go down that wrong rabbit hole, like it can lead to another rabbit hole and another rabbit hole and another one over here, another one over there. And before you know it, you've bought in all these different products. You still don't know what to do. You still don't understand the whole concept of how to actually make money. And the story that you had with the guy that spent $80,000, that's a great example of that. He kept on getting pulled down this rabbit hole and that rabbit hole and this rabbit hole. Here's what I learned from my mentor, okay? My mentor said, Darren, do you want to make big money? And I said, absolutely. Absolutely, I do. Do you want to become a millionaire? Absolutely, okay? You sure about that? Absolutely I am. You'll do whatever I tell you to do? Absolutely I will. Step 1, Surrender your pride and your ego and be coachable. Okay. Now, if you have somebody that has a proven model over and over, literally a leadership factory that's already produced 16 verified millionaires, that's already done $158 million in sales, that's called a good track record, guys. That's called a good track record. And when you can associate with people that are not only getting the type of success that you want, but they can now mentor you, they can coach you to be able to start getting the same type of success yourself, right? Makes sense, right? So here's an example. If you a minefield, right, and you've got to get 100, all you got to do is go 100 yards, right? But there's mines all the way through that whole field. You'd probably feel a lot more confident if there was a minesweeper in front of you. But, oh, don't step there, right? Like, oh, don't step there, right? That would give you a confidence where you could walk forward in complete blind faith, knowing that you're going in the right direction, right? That's what we have here, okay? So here's a couple stories, right? Chad Turner, who's one of my students that he's just going through millionaire mentoring right now, 5 months ago, he was a waiter, right? Making about $2,100 a month. He's now in his 5th month. Okay, now when you look at that on the course of a person's lifespan, 5 months is not a very long time, okay? He became part of our Black Card Elite membership. And last week, right, in his 5th month, he made $9,750 for the week, not for the month, okay, for the week. Mary Barnett just had a $3,000 day, right? Rex Harris made $4,000 yesterday, and last week he had a $5,000 day. This is what happens, guys. This is what happens when you're prepared to surrender your pride, surrender your ego, and know that what you've been doing in the past hasn't worked, right? If it had worked, you'd already be making millions, right? Think about it. If you knew the formula and you knew how to implement it, you'd already be making, millions of dollars right now yourself. So what I did when I started is I said, you know what? I'm open, okay? I want to be a sponge. I want to learn as much as I possibly can so that I can duplicate and get those type of results. Because quite honestly, guys, when I first started online, just looking at like an interface like Facebook, right? Or going into a back office of a training system. And this is true story, okay? I had cold sweats at night for 3 months. No joke, right? Because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm still a 2-finger chicken pecker typer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I know.
So
we're gonna get you on voice.
If I can do it, you know what I mean? If I can do it as a 2-finger chicken pecker typer, anybody can do this, right?
Okay, so Darren, since you've made some gangster money, are you willing to log in and share your screen, or is that a little bit too much? It's up to you. Okay,
let's just go through Unstoppable Vision.
Okay, so
not really I want all over the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so let's see. Now tell us a little bit about the entire program of Unstoppable Vision, and what you call the 7-figure. What is that?
The 7-figure profit maximizers,
Yes.
which
Okay.
is a $3,000 bonus that I give my students when they go all in on their dream. Okay, so if somebody goes all in on their dream, I go all in on their dream with them. That's basically how this works.
Yeah, so that's that quid pro quo. You're giving a bonus value of $3,000 in exchange for them, purchasing the Black Card membership, going all the way through. But just to get started and find out if the business is right for you, there's this very small investment that you have to make. and then you'll find out if it's right for you. But on that note, we're going to go into the presentation. Any final words on why someone should get involved with the iPass Black Card? You know, it's a great club. You know, we hung out in Nashville. I mean, for goodness sake, if I wasn't a Black Card member and you weren't a Black Card member, we never would have met. So I think that's the thing that people don't realize. It's like it's I sort of liken it to like a country club or a golf club. You know, golf club membership that you belong to with the most interesting people on the internet in the world. Yeah.
Well,
And
the way that I look at this is what I tell my students is that this industry in general, I call it the Friends for Life program. Okay. So what you've got to understand as being your own CEO of your own company is that you get to pick and choose who you want to work with, right? So for me, I'm really clear on who's my perfect business partner. Who do I want to attract into my reality? What are some of their characteristics? What are their core beliefs? What kind of, are they family people? Do they travel? Right? Do they own one car, two cars? Do they own their own home? Do they have a vacation home? Who are these people that I want to be able to travel around the world with? Because what happens, guys, is once you have freedom, once all your bills are paid, and you don't have to worry about your mortgage payment and your car and insurance and gas and groceries and everything else, once that's all taken care of, here's what I will tell you about a human being, is that they want to give back, they want to make a difference, and they want to leave behind a legacy. So if you're associating and interacting with all people that feel very similar to you, is that they want to make a difference in their community, they want to make a difference in their church, they want to make a difference on a global level. Those are the type of people that I want to hang out with, right? That don't have limiting beliefs, that can believe that it's possible for them to even make $1 million in a month, right? Because that's possible, guys. We've had people that have been able to do that, right? So, but if you don't believe that, if you don't believe that to be true, remember the opening of the vortex, right? It's either open, you believe it, or shut, you don't believe it. And if you don't believe it, it'll never happen for you, right? So I'm prepared to go live here, Vic, if we're ready to rock.
yeah, we had one question come in here called, how do I become a millionaire? I want to answer that with a joke. I'm actually in the Sonoma wine country, and there's a joke going, well, how do you make $1 million in the wine business? You got to have 10 million to start with. So, but no, so how do you seriously become a millionaire? Which you
okay,
really, I want you to answer it, but I'll answer it as well.
Okay, in this particular program that we market, which is affiliate marketing, it's direct sales. It's actually very simple, and when you compare this to, like an MLM or a network marketing company where you might need anywhere from 80,000 to, 250,000 people, basically a small country, to be able to make $1 million. In this particular program that we're in, you would need 333 sales. 333 sales at the Black Card level, right? And you're a millionaire, right? Now, you could take however long. You could take 5 years to do that, 3 years to do that, 2 years to do that, 1 year to do that. I mean, we've had people that in a year have made 4 million, right, off of these products, right? So it's all what you believe, right? So some people would go, oh, 333, oh my God, I could never do that. Okay, well then you can never do it, right? I believe that's going to be very easy. I believe actually with a marketing budget, right? So let me just paint a picture for you. If I had even 5 or 6 entrepreneurs like myself, right? People that are visionaries, and each one of those people had a marketing and advertising budget, right? And we put together a you know, a conglomerate marketing and advertising campaign. That's very achievable, guys, just so you know, right? Very, very achievable. In fact, if you can expand your mind, you might even start to think, well, 333 sales, that's not very much. I could do that in a month, right? Once you build up a team of people that are all, you know, moving forward in a direction, that's when you start to get into some incredible days. We had one particular person in the company that had a $47,000 day, not a week or a month, guys, a day, right? Now, I will tell you this, individual results will vary based upon you. What do you believe? I don't know. What do you believe, right? So anyway, back over to you, Vic.
Okay, so that's how you do it. You become a millionaire by finding a product and aligning yourself with that product and selling enough of that product so that your ad spend, in other words, how much money you spend on advertising, is less than the amount of money that you're generating from selling that product. A lot of my clients come in here and say, hey, I want to sell my thing. I want to sell my book. I want to sell my tapes. I want to sell my seminars. Guys, you know, unless you're like Tony Robbins, you're not going to convert as well as something that's already got entrenched, you know, market penetration, as it's called. What that does is when it's called affiliate marketing. This is really the case for affiliate marketing. Is affiliate marketing is this massively growing industry where you have the ability to sell someone else's stuff and almost in this case take 70% of the revenue for yourself. And the way you think of it this way, half of that 70% goes to recover your ad investment. The other half goes into your business. So you're actually, you know, it's the same model that my mentor John DeMartini said, a third, and a third. That's the way you want to think about this business. A third of it goes to you, a third of it goes to advertising and cost, and a third of it goes to the company that made the thing that you're selling. That's kind of how you want to think about that. And if you just think that way and you relinquish your ego that you have to sell your product that you know, made with your own two hands, that's been my product. I've always been making my own products and trying to sell my products. It made a lot more sense to learn how to sell other people's products because then I improve the quality of my products because I learned a few things along the journey. See, taking the journey, beginning the journey is the key to success in any business. It's just begin it. If you have a dream, begin it. There's power and magic in it. Who said that? Now, whatever your dream you have, begin it. There's power and magic in it. That's kind of how I remember it right now. So on that note, Darren, let's adjourn this thing. Thank you for your questions. We'll take more questions at the end of the next section. We're going to go ahead and bring up the PowerPoints here in a moment.
Okay, so we're ready to go?
Yeah. And thank you, studio audience, for coming here on such short notice. Have you noticed that I don't like to actually send people a lot of notice in advance?
Can you see my screen?
I can see it perfectly.
Okay. Okay, you tell me when you're ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome to Unstoppable Vision 2015, the importance of goal setting. Guys, what I want to really do here is I really want for you to I want to take you back to the basics here. You know, you might go through this and kind of be thinking to yourself, Darren, I already know that. I mean, why aren't I implementing this in my life? Guys, here's what I'm going to tell you. We as human beings battle something called the human condition. Your human brain is actually programmed to self-destruct. And you've got to understand this and why this is so critically important for you to get this information to be able to take your life to the next level. So there's me. My name is Darren Little, also known online as the MLM Superhero. There's a couple books that I have been in. I'm the contributing author to Chicken Soup for the Network Marketer's Soul, and the co-author of MLM Affiliate Magic, that helps people to fast track their business by at least 3 to 5 years, okay? Now, you can actually get a copy of MLM Affiliate Magic if you go to mlmsuperhero.com, download a copy of that book. We send that to your email, so make sure that you've got a valid email in there. Okay, so why should you listen to me, guys? Well, let me tell you a little bit about my background here. You might be familiar with Pamela Anderson. She actually has the most ever front covers of Playboy. She was on Tool Time, and then she was made her big celebrity status in a program called Baywatch. And I actually helped to launch her career into the marketplace. Now, we were talking earlier about two worlds existing simultaneously. When I met Pamela, I said, you know, have you ever considered doing any modeling? She said, well, you know, I'm just too short. You know, I would never be able to do that, right? So that gives you an idea of what can happen with a shift in mindset, with a shift in belief of what you believe to be true. I also launched a company called Able Auctions. I raised $12 million for that company. I took them public on the American Stock Exchange. I was the founder of a company called blackjack.com, with the world's largest blackjack club. I also was the a co-founder of bingo.com, world's first online bingo community. And this is a really interesting story, because my goal was actually to beat out Google. Okay, Google had an average user time of 20 minutes. And according to Nielsen ratings, when I was running bingo.com, we had an average user time of right around 45 to 47 minutes per user. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is before Facebook even existed. Okay, this was back in 1999. And, you know, people didn't have social media the way that they do now. I also launched my own brand called the MLM Superhero. And guys, I want for you to really understand the power of vision, because every single one of these cases, I had to be able to see into the future and lasso that future reality into my reality right now. And that's what we're going to talk about. Now, my passion's truly marketing. Using the marketing strategies that I teach, I became a self-made millionaire at the age of 35. I go into a lot of this story in my training. You know, I was working with Dr. Lee Poulos. He taught me a lot about the subconscious mind, Dr. Dov Barron in quantum physics. And anything is possible, guys. Anything is possible once you believe it to be true. So why are goals so important? A lot of people say, I don't know, Darren, you know, goals, I don't think they're that big of a deal. You have to have some sort of a destination point, a trackable destination point. Now, here's what I will tell you about goals. They give you something to actually work towards, right? An actual place that you're going. If you don't have that, you're lost, basically. You've got a sense of purpose and accomplishment if you have goals. They're actually trackable. You can discover whether or not what you're doing is working. You're either getting closer to your goal, you're spinning your wheels, or you're falling further behind. So they're very trackable. They can also help to boost your confidence and self-esteem as you start to hit your little milestones, right? It starts to give you more confidence and self-esteem, and they can actually improve the quality of your life. Now, what happens without goals? This is the important part. First of all, you've got no destination. You're completely lost. You actually have a feeling inside like you're failing in life without goals, right? This is where, you know, it's almost like murky water. You know, that river starts to venture off into all these paths, and then it starts to become stagnant water, right? So it's important, if you have those goals, you're in that rush of energy. And also, if you don't have any goals, you really don't have any accountability in your life at all. You're just kind of meandering aimlessly, lost in space. you start to lose your confidence, your self-esteem, and it can actually oftentimes lead to depression, right? If you can imagine that. And they actually can decrease in the quality of life if you've got no goals. Now, this is one of the things that I learned from one of my mentors in my 20s, which was Tony Robbins. He said, you're either growing or shrinking, climbing or sliding. There is no in between. And that's the difference between having a target and having no target, having goals and having none, right? Going in a direction or being stagnant. You're either moving in the river or you're actually getting into stagnation. So something to consider. Now, here's what I'll tell you. I talked about this earlier, but there's two worlds that exist simultaneously. On one side, you've got everything that you want, and on the other side, you've got everything that you don't want, okay? Now, whichever one that you focus on is the one that you're going to get. And so much about this is going to get back to two words, okay? Now, these two words can go both ways, guys. Two words. What if? What if? What if everybody that I talked to wanted to join my business? What if my phone was ringing off the hook with incoming calls? What if everywhere that I went, people wanted to join my business? What if leaders were contacting me from all four corners of the world? Okay, that's one side. Now, I could also say this. Oh my God, what if I go bankrupt? What if I lose all my money? What if everybody I talk to rejects me? Right? Those are two worlds that exist simultaneously. One is the victim and the other is the victor. So you've got to decide which path that you want to be on. Now, a lot of this stems back to the wave particle theory, guys. And I tell this story to all of my students because it's important for you to realize on a quantum physics level. Now, I learned this while I was working with a gentleman by the name of Dr. Darren. He's the one that came up with the actual equation for manifestation. You can actually see his product at equationformanifestation.com. That information completely changed my life. I will be completely honest with you. I consider him to be a world authority in quantum physics. And this is something that completely changed my reality. Now, here's the story. The scientists were actually trying to figure out what's the whole world made of? What's the universe actually made up of? And they realized that, things were made up of atoms and molecules. But what are the atoms and molecules made up of? They got it down to the electrons. Now, here was the interesting thing. There was one group of scientists, and they believed, listen to my words, they believed that those electrons were made up of waves of energy. Now, they conducted all their research, and here's what they found. It came back 100% conclusive. That means there was no skewing. There wasn't any other results, right? It came back 100% conclusive that those electrons are made up of waves of energy. But another group of scientists in another area of the world, they believed that those electrons were made up of particles of matter. And the particles of matter would come together and they would form the atoms and the electrons and would form the atoms and molecules and they would form stuff. Now, how's that possible? How's that possible? One group of scientists believed that that was waves of energy, and the other group believed that it was particles of matter, and they both got 100% conclusive evidence. What they found was this: those electrons are in a state of what's called superposition. They have not yet made up their mind what they're going to become, a wave of energy or a particle of matter. And when your thought-directed emotion that generates feeling broadcasts out to those electrons, it's going to make that decision of what they're actually going to become. Now, in the Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, he talks about something called formless substance. Formless substance. That is the electrons. And once you get this, once you realize that it's your thoughts, your words, your emotions that are creating your reality, everything changes, guys. Because now you got to start to take responsibility for what's going on in your head. You've got to start to be the observer of what's going on in your head, right? And realize, are you going towards everything you want or everything that you don't want? Now, here's the thing. This is why I say multiple times per day, you've got to say, how do I feel? How do I feel? Because that's going to have you linked to what were you just thinking about? Because that's what's actually connected to your emotions. Now, here's the question I say to my students is that, I'll say, well, give me an idea. I mean, how much money do you want? And they go, I don't know. As much as I can make. That's asking for nothing, just so you know, okay? So you've got to know where you're going, because imagine you call a travel agent and you say, give me 2 tickets. Where's the travel agent going to send you? You could actually be heading to a war zone and get off the plane and be escorted with guys in machine guns and put in jail, right? So it's probably not a good idea just to float aimlessly or not even know where you're going to go. You really got to make a decision and sit down and decide, right? It's a simple thing to do, but not very many people actually do it. So start asking yourself a few questions right now. Why haven't you already achieved financial freedom? Now, this is a pretty deep question, guys, I'm telling you, because when you realize that it's actually you that's stopping you from getting your dream. It's not the world, it's not your circumstances, it's your thoughts, words, and emotions. And why don't you feel worthy? Why don't you feel deserving? Why don't you feel that abundance is your birthright, that there's not enough money in the world that can pay you for your worth? What's stopping you? Now, here's typically what happens, is you've got a story. Oh man, you don't know my story. Dude, I mean, you think you got it bad. Let me tell you my story, right? This is what holds people stuck so they can't move. I can't be successful because, and what's your story? What's your story? I can't be successful because I don't have enough time. I mean, we got the kids, we got pickups and drop-offs. Man, you don't know, man. You don't know how hard it is for me, man. You don't know. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough contacts. I mean, you know tons of people, Darren, but I don't know anybody. I just got like a few friends that I know. I don't know anybody. I don't have any contacts. I don't have any friends on Facebook. That's called victimhood. This is more victimhood stuff, okay? I don't have enough knowledge or training, right? We'll get the knowledge or the training, right? I don't have enough money, right? Now, here's what I will tell you. With a vision, you can get the money. As a victim, you can't. Nobody will invest in a victim, but tons of people will open up their wallet for a vision. So when I launched the bingo.com deal, guys, I had to be so tapped into my vision, just the domain name that you can buy off GoDaddy for 10 bucks. We paid $1.1 million. Now that didn't include working capital, that didn't include office space, that didn't include staffing, that didn't include software development, that didn't include licensing, that didn't include anything. That was just the domain name, right? So I had to actually sign a contract with my name as the CEO, and I didn't have the money yet. Now imagine that. You're committing into a contract and you don't have the money to be able to do the deal, but you've got a certain period of time, right? And I had to make the deal happen. So I needed to be so tapped into my vision, so tapped into my dream that I could literally breathe it, taste it, touch it into my reality right now. Otherwise, I would never have been able to do that. So I went out and raised $7.1 million on a vision, guys, on a vision. What did I believe to be true, right? So don't buy into that thing that you don't have enough money. If you're a victim, here's what I will tell you. Nobody's cutting checks to you. 100%. You can be rest assured of that. Nobody will cut a check to a victim. I don't know, Darren. I just don't feel worthy. I don't feel that I deserve it. Well, that's unfortunate, right? Maybe when you start suffering a little bit more, maybe you'll reach your breaking point, and then maybe you'll be ready to go to the next level. Some people might have a fear of success or a fear of failure. Guys, those are all an illusion. It all gets back to your deservability, worthiness, self-love, and boundaries. That's really what it's about. That's why I tell people, if you really want to take your life to the next level of success, you've got to do the personal development, right? That's the core thing. A lot of people have a fear of rejection, or what you don't even realize is as you start to grow and advance, people that are in a lower vibration, right, that are victims, they don't want you to leave. They don't want to lose their friends. And you might be in a situation where you're scared that if you advance, you're actually going to lose your friends, right? Now, here's what I will tell you. There's tons of successful people that are ready to give you a big welcome hug and embrace you. So sometimes you got to do a little bit of cleanup. Sometimes you got to realize that the people that are in your reality are not supporting you to go to the next level, right? And you got to start cutting off those people, right? Just start spending less and less time with them and start to move towards more successful people. Now, a lot of people are actually scared of their own personal power, right? A lot of people were like, I mean, they felt their power inside before, and it scares them. They don't know how much power that they really have, right? Let me tell you, you are amazing. You can take your life to a next level. You can have whatever you want if you believe it to be true. And also the fear of the unknown, because they really don't know how far that rabbit hole goes, guys. And I'll be honest with you, if you're in a state where you're in between two realities and you're at the end of level 1 in the game and your Pandora's box in your chest is starting to bubble up, right, into your throat, people don't know how far that rabbit hole goes. And they're scared to deal with those emotions because they don't know how deep it really goes. And they're scared of it. They're scared to deal with those emotions. They're scared to bring up the past. They're scared to own their timeline. And that keeps them stuck. You've got to trust that there's mentors that can help you get through. You got to trust that there's people that can help take you through that gateway so that you'll never, ever have to worry about money again for the rest of your life. Now, how do you set goals? Break down the main areas of your life into categories. Okay, now this is really critical. You got health and fitness. You've got spiritual and emotional. You've got family and relationships. You've got career and travel, financial goals and material items, and contribution, giving back, and making a difference. Now, I talk about this in detail, guys, in my Unleash the Alpha Within training to teach you how to tap into your personal power. What if you could literally create a life of everything that you ever dreamed, and you could actually morph and mold and sculpt it and write out the perfect dream world for yourself? What if you could have everything that you ever wanted? You can't do it unless you are clear. You've got to be clear on what it is that you want and why it is that you want it. So why do you want a goal? You've got to get to the core root of why you want to achieve your goal. Okay, so, if you don't know this, guys, I'm telling you, this will take your goal setting to a completely different level. Then you want to make it a goal to give yourself more of what you need now. Okay, I'm going to show you how this works. It's like peeling back the onion. Okay, so I'm going to read this again. You got to get to the core root of why you want to achieve each goal, and then make it a goal to give yourself more of what you actually need right now. And watch how this works. Let's say that you want a bigger house. And I go, well, why do you want a bigger house? Right? You go, well, we need more space. Tell me more about the space. Well, if we had more space, we'd feel more comfortable. Oh, so now it's about being more comfortable. Tell me about that. You know, when we're more comfortable and we got more space, we're more organized. Right? Oh, so now it's about being more organized. Well, no, I mean, the feeling is that, you know, I just feel a lot more peaceful. So it's really about feeling more peace. But we were talking in the beginning, and it was about having more space. But as you peel back the onion, you find out that it's really about a feeling of having more peace. Watch how this works. Darren, I really want to get a Ferrari. Why do you want to get a Ferrari? Oh man, they go so fast. Tell me more about that. Well, you know, like they do 0 to 60 in like, you know, 3 seconds. I think it'd be so much fun. Tell me more about the fun. You know, it makes me feel really good. Well, tell me more about how it makes you feel. Well, you know, like I drive up to the place and the valet, and they look at me and I'm in this car. So it's about recognition from your peers. Wasn't about going fast. The core root of that driver is actually about recognition. So watch how this works. If you give yourself more of what you need at the core, so a bigger house, we got down to the core driver is more peace of mind. So start focusing on peace of mind now, and you will actually attract the bigger house to you. You'll create a vortex and you'll create a magnet and you'll pull it in. So if you look at the sports car and wanting recognition from your peers, focus on giving yourself the recognition and self-love. Okay, so this is part of the daily mirror work that I teach my students, is to look at yourself in the mirror after you get out of the shower and say, you know, I love you, Darren, just the way you are, 10 times. I accept myself unconditionally, even though part of me feels that I don't deserve to have success, 10 times, right? This is about your self-love, to feeling worthy and deserving, to open up that vortex so that you can get that sports car. Okay, how are we doing on time, Vic?
We're doing good. Let's see. We have 8 minutes left. 8 minutes left.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to set a time frame. This is really important. Yearly goals must be believable to your subconscious mind. If not, you will not manifest them. Now, what do I mean by this? So let's say that I'm talking to somebody and I say, well, give me an idea. How much money do you want to make, you know, in the next 12 months? Darren, I want to make $1 million. Okay, well, give me an idea. I mean, what level of income are you accustomed to making right now? $3,000 a month. Okay, now their subconscious mind is going to go from a 3,000 to a million. In order to make $1 million a year, you'd have to make $3,000 a day, right? So, you know, if the person's subconscious mind doesn't believe it, here's what happens. Here's what your subconscious mind does. Yeah, right. And you don't do anything. You're literally paralyzed because you don't believe it to be true. So if you're making $40,000 a year and you set a goal to make $2 million in the next 12 months, is that really believable? Can you really believe that you could make a jump that big, right? Obviously, you're at a vibrational resonance right now and a certain deservability and worthiness at 40 grand. You're not going to jump skyrocketing up to 2 million. How about work on just replacing your income? That's a good first goal, right? I want to replace my current income, or I want to double my current income. Those are goals that your subconscious mind can believe to be true. Now, what I want to talk to you about is truly making a vision. And I go in detail into this in my Millionaire Mentoring Training and Coaching, because this is like opening up a gateway in through the matrix into your next reality. Okay, so you're gonna literally imagine you've got this bubble of this one reality, it's a matrix, and you're gonna peel it open and you're gonna create a gateway into the next reality. Now, a lot of people say, Darren, can I do this on a computer? No, you can't. You can't. You have to cut and paste it, because it's gonna take you back into your inner child when you were in elementary school, and you may even actually have flashbacks of stuff that happened to you growing up. Okay, so it's imperative that you get that. You can't do this on a computer for it to have the ultimate effect. Here's the supplies that you're gonna need. You're gonna need a whiteboard with sticker Mac Tack finish. They're the easiest because you can put down your whole first level foundation without having to use a glue stick. But to do stuff on top of that, you're gonna need a glue stick. You're also gonna need scissors. I recommend to do the close cropping that you might wanna get one of those X-Acto knives. They work really well for getting in close around the rings and airplanes and things like that. National Geographic for pictures of nature, or some travel magazines at a travel place. Rob Report and Showcase Magazine are probably some of the best magazines I use for my vision boards. Once you really get good at these and you start to manifest, you want to start to up your game. Like you can see on this vision board is that yacht, and that yacht's probably like 250, $300 million, right? So you start to up your ante, and you start to actually really believe that you can actually do it, because as your income starts to go up, your goals start to increase of what you believe you can actually manifest. DuPont Registry for cars, for homes, for boats. Maxim Magazine is another really good one. Golf Digest, because there's a lot of pictures of greenery and golf course and mountains in the background. Chatelaine Magazine is another good one. Stuff Magazine, Star Magazine, because they've got some really big headlines and type, like stuff like that, truth and yeehaw. You want to have, don't be putting everything the same size, guys, okay? And if you can't see off into the distance to the infinity, right? You can see the boat there with the horizon line off in the distance. And you can see that you can walk right past the girl into the home. The distance between the watch that's in the front, or the ring that's in the front, and the horizon line off in the distance, it's a far way. It might be 20 or 30 miles. If you don't have that effect on your vision board, guys, start over, okay? Start over. It will not work for this effect. Now, if you want to get instructions, really step-by-step instructions on how to do it, go to darrenlittle.com/vision-boards. So there's 3 steps to creating your vision board: ripping, cutting, and pasting. Now, when you do the first part, which is the ripping, you want to do it very, very fast, fast, fast. Just flip, flip, flip. Anything that inspires you, anything that changes your state, anything that shifts your mind, where you go, oh yeah, I like that, oh yeah. You want to just rip, stack, rip, stack, rip, stack as you're going through. Any word, sentence, picture, anything that motivates you, anything that changes your state, you're going to rip it, okay? And you're just going to keep on making that stack. You're not trying to put the puzzle together in the beginning. You're just ripping out, getting sort of stuff that you're going to pick from. You might not choose everything, but there's a process here, guys. You got to change your state. You got to tap into the physiology of your body, your preferred state of being, okay? So next thing you do is you move into the cutting. Now, like I said, you're going to be dealing with nature pictures as your foundation, and you also want to use close cropping with an X-Acto knife. So cut out whatever has inspired you. Get rid of all the excess paper, and now you're going to create a second pile. So you've got your pile, now you're gonna move into the cutting. If it's a close crop around a car, or it's a close crop around a ring or something like that, you might be using an X-Acto knife, okay? Now you start off with the pasting. Now, if you look at this particular nature shot, you can see what I'm talking about depth. Okay, so the front of the river is miles and miles away from that horizon line. If you don't have that type of effect with your nature pictures, you will not have 3 dimensions. Okay, so I'm going to say this again. If you don't have the 3-dimensional look with the horizon line in the distance, you will not create 3 dimensions. Okay, now you want to cover the whole board with some nature shots, and you want to work within the infinity pattern, right, which is a sideways figure 8. So if I've drawn the infinity pattern over top of that, But notice how the boat is coming into the center, the car is coming into the center, the plane is coming out the middle, right? The car on the left is kind of going into the center. So work within that type of energy field within the infinity, okay? And don't make it too cluttered, guys. There's going to be a point of putting stuff on the board where if it gets too cluttered, it's going to create a blocker in the gateway. Now, here's an example. Now, you'll notice that the watch is floating in the foreground. The diamonds are floating in the foreground. Look at the distance between the diamonds and then all the way past that plane to the horizon. Look how that could be, you know, I don't know, 50 miles to the edge there. Who knows? Look at the distance between the ring, which is in the foreground above play, and then the sky above those mountains. That might be 100 miles, guys. You know, that's really far off in the distance. Look at the Lamborghini and how far it is off into the horizon of the golf course, or the BMW at the bottom. Between that and the mansion that's on the top of the mountain, look how far that is. Look at the boat, for the tip of the boat to the edge of the horizon line. Guys, if you don't have those gateways, start over, okay? If you do not have gateways like that, start again, because you're not creating a gateway between this reality and the next reality that you want. Okay, so remember, you want to work within that infinity pattern. Very, very important. Now notice that 3D effect once again, the distance between the horizon line and the stuff in the foreground. Now, this is an example, guys, of something that just doesn't have the effect. And you can see how this almost makes you feel a little bit like nervous energy, right? This will not work for the effect that I'm trying to, you know, communicate here to you. Look at the difference between these two vision boards. First of all, there's too much repetition of the same thing, right? You've got to, and there's no nature. There's no grounding on the board. So this almost has that feeling of a crowd that's in downtown New York that's fighting to get through, right? It doesn't create a gateway into the next reality. So something to keep in mind. I wanted to show you this so that you can see the contrast between cluttered energy, and then let's take a look back at this one. Look how much nature is involved in the foundation. So very important to get that, right? The difference between the gateway and having it cluttered. Now, how do you activate the vision? How do you tap into the emotion and the feeling of success? Here's the thing that you got to understand. Your body actually works like a radio broadcast station. It's broadcasting out this frequency like a beacon. Boing, boing, right? Like a radio broadcast. And the best way to actually get a visual of this is to take a drum of water, right, that's filled up to the top, and take a little tiny pebble and drop it in the very center. And what you'll find is that there'll be ripples. They will go all the way out to the very edge. They will touch the side of that barrel, and they will come back to the center. And until you've seen this, you can't even comprehend what that will do to your belief in understanding this. Because here's what happens. Once you understand how this works, and thought-directed emotion that generates feeling, and how your physiology in your body is communicating with the electrons, and you're sending out that vibration, when it hits the edge of the matrix, guess what happens? It all starts coming back. And once you see it, once you have a visual of that pebble dropping into that pond, or the pebble dropping into that barrel, guys, I'm telling you what, it changes everything. Okay, so in order to attract success, you need to broadcast success. But remember that your physiology in your body is actually the broadcast station. That's when I pulled my arm up and you can see goosebumps. So you need to tap into the emotional feeling. Success is a radio broadcast frequency, guys. Here's what I'll tell you. Success is an actual feeling in your body. And I can literally show people, once they get this, how they can literally make money at will by turning on the success broadcast within the physiology of their body. That's what happened today on that on the broadcast. Now, what is the gateway? The gateway is gratitude. Gratitude, guys, okay? Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Two things right here. This is kind of the sequence of what happens to create a quantum boom, okay? So you've got concentrated, focused thoughts are going to create emotions. The emotions are going to create feelings. The feelings are going to shift your physiology, and all of a sudden you're going to, boom, send out a quantum boom. So it's, you know, if you get this concept, concentrated, focused thought actually affects you emotionally in your body to create a feeling, to change your physiology in your body. So if you want to think, if you want to feel depressed, think of all the terrible things that happened in your life. If you want to feel depressed, think about all the people that rejected you, all the relationships that failed, every time you've ever lost money. And you can actually trigger your body to go into depression. Concentrated, focused thought. Now, gratitude is the gateway. Now, this is what I tell people. This is a chant that I came up with that really works to tap my body into this feeling. And I get centered and I say, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I'm so grateful. Thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you. And then there's a rush that goes right through my body. Gratitude is the gateway. Gratitude is the feeling. If you tap into this feeling of gratitude, I'm telling you, everything will change. And people say, well, Darren, I don't have anything to be grateful for. Well, let me ask you this. Do you have all your arms, all your legs? Do you have all your lungs? Do you have all your body parts? Can you see? Start with that. Start with that, guys, because there's a lot of people that can't even walk. So start on the things that you take advantage of or you take for granted. Start with those things. Do you have a roof over your head? Be grateful for that. A lot of people don't. Do you have 3 meals per day right now? Yeah, okay, be grateful for that right now, right? Do you have clothes on your back? Do you have shoes? Yeah, okay, be grateful for that, okay? So get things back to the basics. So what you've got to do is write out 10 I am proclamation statements. This is how you're going to speak your reality into existence. Now, you need to write them like they've actually already happened. Like they've already happened. Now, here's an example. I am driving an Aston Martin. Now, I could say, if I said it just like a positive thing, like I'm driving an Aston Martin, right? That's not the same as I'm driving an Aston Martin. There's emotion behind a proclamation. So there's a difference between an affirmation that is positive and a proclamation that's emotional. There's a whole body movement behind it, right? Very, very, very important you get that part. You know, I'm able to afford a $4,000 suit without question. Imagine what it would be like walking into a place and you know, getting a couple suits, $4 grand a pop, no big deal, right? That's the abundance mindset. You've got to tap into the feeling of what that feels like. I'm paying cash for everything. I'm donating $1 million to charity. I'm building a school in Africa. I'm in my own cartoon and comic book. I'm traveling the world doing seminars. I'm owning an office tower in Vancouver. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm flying on private jets. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, now when you do that, you should be like Rocky on top of the mountain with your arms up in the air. Now, here's what I will tell you. The first time you start doing proclamations, it may seem like you're lying to yourself. It may seem a little bit awkward. You may seem a little bit goofy. Guys, trust this process. Trust this process. If you just keep on doing these 3 times per day, what's going to happen is internally inside your body, a switch is going to go off. Literally like a light switch. It's just going to go ping one day. And all of a sudden, you're going to feel this rush of energy that goes right through your body from the tip of your head all the way down to the bottom of your feet. And you'll feel this bolt go right through your body. That's called a quantum boom. That's what happens. And once you do that, you can start to do it at will. Once you train your body, once you train your mind, once you train your words and your emotions, and you tap into this feeling, bam, goes out a quantum boom. That's when it starts getting exciting. Now, in order to make 7 figures, you've got to first master your mindset. This is something that happened for me. I went from a 1989 Pontiac Firefly that wasn't even mine, guys. I didn't even have any money to buy a car, right? To this having a brand new Porsche Carrera, this truck here, a 740 IL Beamer, a mansion in Las Vegas, another property here, a waterfront property in Vancouver, a vacation home. Guys, this is all from the mindset. You got to be a millionaire in your mind long before it shows up in your bank account. And I learned this from Dr. Poulos when he said to me, Darren, do you realize that you are where you are right now based upon your thoughts 5 years ago? If you want to know where you're going to be 5 years from today, just look at your thoughts today, right? That's the key, guys. Now, he taught me how to go to an exotic car dealership. I wanted to get a Porsche. He said, Darren, I'm going to show you how to get that Porsche. Will you do everything that I tell you to do? I said, absolutely. He said, you're sure about that? You're sure about that? Absolutely, I will. What do I have to do? He said, the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to surrender your pride and your ego. You're going to have to go into the Porsche dealership, ask to see the sales manager, sit down with them in their office, tell them that you're hoping that you can get their help. You're currently working at this job. They've actually sent you here for an assignment, and you need to get their permission to go through a visualization once per week. And if you don't do it, you're going to get fired. If you don't do it, you're going to get fired. Now, I was prepared to do that, guys, because I really wanted that car. Okay? I was prepared to do that. He said, you're going to have to go to the dealership every single week. Now, not very many people will do this. Okay, not very many people will do this. Not very many people would actually make the amount of trips that I did, which was 44 trips to the dealership. Okay, so it took me 11 months to go from that 1989 Pontiac Firefly to a brand new Porsche Carrera. But what I didn't realize is that what was going to come with the car was a mansion and $1 million in cash. I had no idea. I didn't know how this whole thing worked. All I did was I surrendered my pride, my ego, and I trusted my mentor. I trusted my mentor. I didn't realize that once my body tuned into the feeling and I surrendered my pride and my ego and I took the action steps, that would be the result. That I, just by making this trip multiple times, 44 trips, guys, 44 times I went to that dealership. They knew me by my first name. I was like part of the, it was like I was staff almost. When I came walking in there, hey, Darren, how's it going? Right? I mean, I built relationships and rapport with everybody. And finally I came in one day and I said, I'm here to pick up my car. And they said, you know what, Darren, we didn't know how long or when it was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen. And they dropped like between $6,000 and $7,000 off the price of the car. They said, it's been pretty obvious. There's been no salesman involved in this transaction. Congratulations. That's what can happen. So how do you activate your vision board? 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, you're going to read something that is positive. That will start the process. What's next? You're going to stand in front of your vision board, get really clear, looking right through into the 3 dimensions, okay? And you're going to read your 10 I am proclamations with total passion and conviction. I'm driving an Aston Martin, right? With total passion and conviction. And when you're finished, it's going to be yes, 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 okay? Now, you might wake up the neighbors. You got to be okay with that, guys, because it's your emotions that are going to communicate with your physiology and your body and broadcast out that message to the electrons. Okay. Now, if you're with a spouse and your spouse is not on board and she's laughing at you or he's laughing at you, I'm telling you what, you will create a barrier for your own gateway. So you guys both need to be on board here. Otherwise, you're already creating a sabotage for your breakthrough. Okay, so stepping into the new you, what I want for you to do after you've done that, after you've done the yes, 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 you're going to stand in one spot with your legs just side by side, close your eyes, very centered. Take a deep breath and visualize in front of you is the new you. The new you and your new reality, the new you in the future, the new you that you're going to become, the new you, and you're going to take one step and you're going to step into your new being. One step. And I want you to realize this, guys. You already are the person that you want to become. And the more that you realize this, the more that you just accept this as truth, the more that you just surrender your pride, you surrender your ego, and you know that abundance is your birthright. There's not enough money in the world that can pay you for your worth. And it doesn't matter whether or not it happens overnight. It doesn't matter. As long as you are tapped into your preferred state of being, your preferred state of being. You start thinking about what you want. You start feeling about what you want, and you literally will morph right into this new reality. It's an amazing process, guys. I'm telling you, I get so jacked just talking about this. So 10 steps to achieving your goals. Here they are. Set a goal that is believable to you. Keep in mind, remember the thing about the subconscious mind. Select the target date. Identify the core reason. Remember peeling back the onion, getting to the core driver. Write a list of action steps that will get you to that goal. So you need an actual set of action steps that are going to move you forward. Seek partners to help you get there faster. Now, a lot of this has to do with surrendering your ego, guys. Okay, I can't tell you how many people I've seen that started business. Oh no, I'm good. I got it all handled, right? Because their ego doesn't want for them to feel that they're wrong, or that they don't know, or they're less than. If you surrender your pride and your ego and you get a mentor, you can fast track yourself by at least 3 to 5 years. Now, you want to make it visual. It's got to be three-dimensional, guys. If it's flat, you will not have the same type of results. You got to tap into the physiology of what it feels like to already have it. What does it feel like in your body, in your cells of your body? And it's almost like surrendering your cells. That's why I tell people to go to the Bentley dealership, because it's not whether or not you want one. Your cells have to get comfortable with wealth. Bottom line. Okay, go put on a Rolex. Go try on a suit that's $5 grand. Go to Louis Vuitton. Start touching it. Feel it. You got to feel the wealth. You got to, and it's not about it being materialistic things, guys. It's not about that, right? Take your kids and go to the forest. Connect with nature. You've got to feel worthy of your abundance. If you don't feel worthy, if you don't feel deserving, if you don't feel the abundance is your birthright, and you're pushing it away, you will not have it, and you will create a struggle for yourself. You've got to read it, you've got to proclaim it, and you've got to visualize it daily. You've got to feel grateful for what you already have. Feel grateful for what you already have, and feel grateful for this future reality, like you've already achieved it. What would it feel like? What would that feeling of gratitude feel like if you never ever have to worry about money again for the rest of your life? Ever. What if you could literally manifest and make money at will? What would that feel like in your body, right? And then celebrate and give thanks. Like it's already happened, guys. Like it has already happened. Here's a couple things I recommend that you read. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth. Ask and it is given. Learning to Manifest Your Desires by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And one of the first books that I actually ever read was Anthony Robbins' Unlimited Power. If somebody said, Darren, what are 3 books that could totally change your life forever? These are my top 3. Okay, these are my top 3. That you will learn how to step into your power, you'll learn how to manifest, and you'll learn how to not only make money, but keep money. Okay? So there you've got it, guys. My name is Darren Little, also known online as the MLM Superhero. I'm super easy to reach. There's my phone number, my Skype if you're international. Feel free to reach out, touch base, say a quick hello. Send me an email at darren@darrenlittle.com. Back over to you, Victor.
Hey, I got my camera off, just gonna chill in here. Thinking about all the things that you shared. It's interesting. I met Harv in San Francisco a few years ago and attended his Millionaire Mind Intensive twice. Actually, he just released the book when it was his very first book tour. And when I met Harv, I met him backstage, and he immediately, we just had that connection. It's like, I think there's another thing that a lot of people don't understand is that when you have your vision, and like as I told you, Darren, I began my vision almost, well, it's actually 23 years ago. What happens is that that vision drives you and steers you to meet people. You need to meet these people. Like I met Bill Gates magically. I met Scott McNeely, who started Sun Microsystems. I met Andy Grove. I met Jack Canfield. I met all of the personal growth leaders. I actually hung out with Jim Rohn before he passed away. It's like your vision drives you forward. And I think one of the keys is when you have that clear vision of where you want to see yourself. I was very ambitious. I did a 25-year goal. I was, because I don't know, I read somewhere that you should make a 25-year goal. So I wrote out what my life would be like 25 years from now. And the internet didn't even really exist at that time. But I saw the vision in my mind, and it steered me toward these leaders of the internet. And like Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple Computer. I truly believe that the people I meet and the people that I connect with are the right people. They're the right people. I recently wrote a blog post about how do you find the right people? Well, it's really simple. You need to have the right vision. When you have the right vision, you'll meet the right people. And like we met. Have you noticed, like, even though we were at this conference with the iPass Black Card Club and in Nashville, we sort of just keep bumping into each other. There's thousands of other people, but everywhere we go, there's Darren. Everywhere you go, there's Darren. There's Vic, and we just keep seeing. We just keep showing up. And there's thousands of other people. We don't have very little actions, but somehow we just happen to show up at the same restaurant at the same time. Yes, now we can communicate via phone, and we can say, "Hey, I'm over here." You can, with that. But I just noticed that from conference to conference to conference. I think this is our maybe the fourth or fifth conference. We just kept connecting and connecting and connecting. It's like, you're supposed to talk to each other. there's a gift you have to share with each other. And I think that's what happens when you have the right vision. Let's not forget the people equation of this. Okay. A lot of people think it's your vision and then you have to take action. Well, where do you take action? It's in relationship with people. It's in relationship with a community. One of the comments I got from one of our team members here was, gosh, this sounds like a lot to do for one person. I said, no, but you're part of a team. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to stand up on stage, like Darren does, or I do, or you don't have to write code in your sleep like I do. I sometimes can't sleep because I wake up and I have an algorithm in my head and I have to sit down and write the code because I'm afraid that I'll forget the algorithm before the sun rises. You don't need to be that person. You don't have to have every single ingredient. That's what's so powerful about the iPass system is you're part of a community that provides an infrastructure that we all have in common, and a team that supports that with leaders like Darren coming on board. This is really, really the key. I'd love to have Dave come in one of our hangouts another time, because I think he carries a very, very important vision. His vision, I believe, he's done that 25-year thing. He started maybe 4 years ago, but he's got that 25-year thing going for him. What he's all about is about changing the paradigm of work. I mean, that's a huge vision. How, like we still today, even in 2015, corporate America, venture capital, it's all employee, employer, employee, employer. That is so 19th century. That's like industrial revolution stuff, guys. The internet is here. Why is anyone driving on freeways going to work? I just don't understand that. It makes absolutely no sense. Does it make any sense to you, Darren?
No, it's bizarre.
I mean, in this day and age, there, even if you have a job or you're working as part of a company, you can telecommute, you can video commute. I was hanging out actually at Christmas dinner with high level executives at Google. They're kind of like these stealthy guys. They're actually working on this thing called Google Glass, and it's coming out actually this summer, I hear. But imagine this: they've taken a computer and they've stuck it in the size of a pinhead. Okay. And this thing is going to project a computer screen onto your eye. It's almost like a bionic eye. It's scary. But let's not forget that the whole purpose of this is to connect with people. That's really what I think is all coming back around. Like you shared your phone number. I'm happy to share my phone number. There was a fellow, Richard Nelson, just dropped right in. I guess he had to leave, but I was just saying it's important that we connect. Connecting with each other is so important. That's why go to the next event is so important. We're going to be in Vegas in July. I'm really looking forward to seeing you there. There's a couple ways to spin this cat. Spin the cat. I don't know if you could. I took two sayings and spun them together, but. You weave the web. I don't think it's not even a web. We're weaving a consciousness matrix, a grid. I like to call it a grid. I actually like the organized triangular structure, a Bucky stuff. But I'm excited about this stuff because I feel like we're actually pioneering new ground here. The stuff that you're talking about, Darren, is quantum. People talk about quantum physics. It's really that every decision you make creates let's say six possible realities. There might be more, but let's just say there were six. There's one reality where I actually, never organized this hangout. And there's thousands of people who never even got the email that sent them to this hangout. There's another reality where we're actually together in Canada right now, going hiking in the mountains. Because we had that thought. All these different parallel realities. Your vision is what I believe transduces your current reality into that projected reality. So every decision you make sets in motion these quantum fields. I think it's a key point that you said is your enthusiasm and your energy and your commitment, really, or your decision. I like that word decision. Scission means cut. Okay, so you're cutting off all other alternatives. Okay, you wanted a portion,
and that's a good one, Vic. Because I always tell my students that I talk about this with is to draw a line in the sand, and that's the cut. That's really the cut. You got to make that decision that you will no longer stand for the way that your life is any longer, and draw a line in the sand. It has to get to that. That's what puts people into action. It's not complacency. It's not, oh, I don't know. Right?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, thanks everyone for coming out. We've been here for 2 hours now, so it's been an exciting event. And if you missed any portion of this, then you want to join the iPass Black Card Club and get back to the person who sent you because they'll have access to the video. A little shameless plug. Actually, what's it called? Shameless. What is it called? Shameless bribe? Ethical bribe. Ethical bribe. It's an ethical bribe. It's so funny. I get these emails every day from I'm a couple of lists right now where they have these online webinars. It's a 90-minute webinar for only $197. Professional webinar only costs $197 to join. One webinar, okay? And they're going to teach you one tactic. Friends, for whatever iPass costs, when you click that button right now, that is like a third of the cost, and you're going to get access to us and the entire community. Now, if someone was asking here, I really want to get in touch with you. I need your talent and experience. I'm ready to go big. I'm ready to build a global team. I say my answer to you is, have you done the basics? Have you done the chop wood, carry water? Okay. Have you generated 5,000 visitors to your website? Have you successfully generated 1,000 visitors a day to your website? Have you generated 6 figures in, online? Have you pitched a business plan and raised capital before? Maybe you need to chop wood and carry water. Okay. iPass is the chop wood, carry water of 2015. You got to go through that first before anything that Darren and I could help you with will make more sense. And you got to go black. I only talk to people who are black. People hit me up all the time. I said, okay, they might send me a message. I say, okay, well, have you gone black yet? No, I'm sorry. I haven't quite. What do you say to? I only work with people who are at the black level. So that's my personal preference. There's other members on my team that work with that, but that's just my preference.
Here's what I say. So somebody says to me, Darren, I wanna get what you know about quantum physics, right? And I say, okay, well, get a black card. I'll teach you how, right? Well, I can't afford that. I go, there is another option. There's another option. You can take the 25 years that I took to learn all this stuff and go do that. So you take 25 years and go do that, or go black card and I'll teach you. That seems like a fair shake.
And the thing is that we have to do these in groups, because what starts to happen is more and more people want that one-on-one time, and we only have so many hours in the day. And we need to focus on helping advance the bigger vision. So you and I are living inside of this vision to change the paradigm of work, okay? Work from home. It's not even at home. It's like work from your phone. Where's my home? When I'm in Las Vegas, my home is in Las Vegas. When I'm in Nashville, my home is in Las Vegas. When I'm driving in my car, my car is my home. What is the definition of home? Usually people think work from home, it means, oh, I have a child, I want to stay home with my kids. But there are people in our team that they travel like 9 months out of the year. They're running their online business from their phone, at the top of a mountain in the Himalayas. I know Scott is a friend of ours. We've been talking about, we're each going to go get our drones and we're going to go like hiking somewhere and go, he'll have his it's an aerial video camera. He'll have his little drone over here and I'll have my drone over here. We'll like film each other, at like thousands of feet in the air over some mountainside, or water skiing or surfing. Come to Hawaii, I'll teach you how to surf. It's like there's so many possibilities. What we're talking, this is something that I just want to leave you with a thought here about information. And if you Google me, you'll probably find a page there with my interview in Insights magazine. I'm very fortunate to be on the cover of Insights magazine last year. Wayne Dyer was on one there. Deepak Chopra was there. Jack Canfield's been in the cover of Insights magazine. It's really an honor to be among my peers like that. But in my interview, I said that, a company that actually is providing this hangout for us, their mission was to organize the world's information. And my response is, most information doesn't really need to be organized. It should just be simply deleted. Just get rid of it, because it's information that is not applicable for today's society. And that's kind of like, I think, the real message here. Okay, we don't need more information. We're already living in what Malcolm Gladwell in Blink and Tipping Point calls, and also my colleague and friend Ray Kurzweil, who actually now I think he's the head of research for Google. I met Ray at a conference a while back. He's a fantastic human being. Totally knowledgeable, probably one of the most brilliant minds alive. He said that humanity will reach the point of singularity. Once we reach the point of singularity, we will become so overwhelmed with information that we will simply shut all of it off and go back to reading books. And that's my thought, is read a book, a physical book every day, a chapter. If you can't do a whole book, read a chapter. If you can do one book a week, that's 52 books a year. Okay, blog daily. Send articles, promote things daily, read books daily, listen to inspiring audios, connect with leaders. And one of the keys is don't waste your time doing so many things one-on-one. Yeah, I could fly up to Canada and hang out with Darren, or I could just meet him in Vegas. Come meet us in Vegas. So I would say, come meet us in Vegas. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up, Darren. I love you, man.
Okay, guys, so here's what I'm going to say in closing is that, you know, fast track yourself to freedom by getting involved, taking action, getting the mentors, getting the proper coaching that you need to be the next success story. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, if I can help somebody go from completely homeless and 6 months later they're making $20,000 in a month, believe me when I tell you, I can help you too. Okay, so click the link below, take action, and we'll see you on the other side.
Live long and prosper. Tribute to the late, great Leonard Nimoy.
Okay, we'll see you guys.
Aloha.